I had my meetings. It was a really long day. Things were good. And then I get to the airport and I go to get on the flight and the attendant was immediately rude. I don't know if it's because, and of course, all these articles are that I'm this entitled, self-absorbed, whatever. Everyone has their opinions. We've all got them. But so not the truth. Like I was dressed because I had come from meetings. I had my carry-on bag, which was a more luxurious carry-on bag, if you want to say.
Not purchased within the last year, by the way.
Exactly. Not purchased within the last year. But I went to get on the flight and he immediately looks at me and goes, "You'll have to check that bag." I was like, and I just like his tone and attitude was immediately angry. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I didn't check it on the way here. So I would really like to see if there's room for it. And he goes, "That's not how it's going to work." I was like, okay. And I was like, well, then why don't we put a tag on it as if I'm going to check it?
This is all reasonable so far.
Yeah. I was like, let me put a tag on it as if I'm going to check the bag. And if there's not room for it, then we'll just check it. "Ma'am, you won't be flying on this flight if that's how you want to do it." And I was like, okay. All right. And so I walked down the jet bridge, and as I'm walking down, the pilot...
with your bag.
With my bag, yes.
But you put a tag on it.
There was a tag on it. And then this attendant, just to like prove a point, just to prove like a little bit of power, he comes down the jet bridge and tries to take my bag. And the pilot that was standing next to me, he was just sparking conversation.
Come through, by the way.
Come through. You haven't come through yet, but... come through. But anyways, so the pilot and I were talking, and super, super nice guy. And the attendant comes up to try to take my bag, and the pilot goes, "Hey man, I'll find a place for her bag. It's not a big deal." And the attendant literally was like this close to the pilot's face and goes, "No, you won't. Stay out of it." And at that point, I mean, granted, I was already on edge. I'd been up for almost 24 hours. Like, whatever. It was just a tough, rough day.
Your most patient self, but like not you're hostile. Not like, you're not going off.
No, I'm not going off. I'm not hostile. Maybe I wasn't my most patient self.
I've traveled with you before. I mean, I know what it's like. Yeah. You're not nasty to people.
No, not at all. And so when he said that to the pilot, though, something in me just flipped because I'm like, this is a guy responsible for like the safety of everyone, and you're gonna have that much disrespect to tell him to stay out of it. So that is when I had choice words, and I said, "Dude, come on, there's no need to be an asshole." That's
the extent of what you said.
That's all I said.
Yeah,
I said there was no need to be an asshole. And at that point, oh gosh, you would have thought I would have like threatened to bomb the place. Like, he was not having it. He was like, "Ma'am, you will," or what did he say? I was like, "So there's no need to be an asshole." And he goes, "You're off. You're off." People, I think, were just kind of shocked. And then the man aggressively grabbed the woman's bag behind me. And she was like...
So it wasn't just you?
No. He aggressively grabbed her bag behind me, and she was like taken back. And the pilot literally said to me, "Dude, when they have this kind of, like, when they have this power, they kind of just run everything."
Yeah.
And I told the attendant, I was like, "You know what? We all have tough days. Clearly you're in a mood. Clearly I'm in a mood. I apologize. I should not have called you an asshole. Let's check my bag
and call it a day.
Nope. You're off this flight. You will not be flying." He was like, "Do I need to have whatever police come and get you?" And I was like, "Please do, sir." Yeah. So then I got off the flight and I told them and then the woman was like, "Hey, let me get his side of the story and your side of the story." I was like, "I would appreciate if we could get the factual story together. Like not his side, her side."
Maybe the pilot.
Yeah. Like maybe get the pilot story.
And the pilot's number.
Yeah. His name, number. Oh, that would be great. And like they were so insistent on having two separate sides to the story, and that didn't work for me because...
Well, who's gonna win the Southwest side of the story? You or the Southwest attendant? Well, and normally you haven't been winning a lot lately in general, so... No.
I mean, clearly Southwest won because I was on a delayed connecting flight, but it was just the whole thing. I think, and the most disturbing part about it was I said, "You know what? I have to get home to a 10-year-old. Like my 78-year-old grandmother's waiting on me to get home to take over. Like I have to get home to my 10-year-old. And the guy looks at me and goes, don't care. That was what was the most infuriating thing that led me to call him an asshole again. So, granted, could I have used a little classier language? Sure.
What would you have used? Like, you probably can't even think of anything.
Nah, I would have called him an asshole still.
Okay.
But the whole thing, it was just, and the fact that this is like a news headline, also too, I tried to make a joke out of it at the end of the day by just being like, you know what?
The hot pilot was hot, though.
Yeah, the hot pilot stood up for me. Thank you for that. Holler. So the whole thing was just absolutely insane. I do not think I'm better than anyone else. I do not think I'm better than to not have to check my bags. All I asked was, let me see if there's room, because we all been on a plane before. Some people just don't play Tetris that well. And
it sounds like you had a vendetta for more than one person.
Yeah, something
it
was
wasn't
not,
just you.
No, something was not going right that day. I don't know. But again, should I have called him an asshole? Probably could have steered away from that. But it is what it is. Everyone has tough days. I don't think I'm better than anyone else than to have to check a bag. So let's take that narrative out of the picture. And Southwest,
fucking fly. We got to get that.
Okay.
That's not a good look for the company.
So at the end of the day, Southwest, you won. You won because I ended up on a connecting flight and I didn't get home till 3 a.m.
Had you ever been to Baltimore, though?
I have. When Mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. That's where she had her surgery.
Okay, well.
I know.
The story gets darker.
Dun, dun.
I mean, you are literally the queen of using humor to get through things. Which
and
is like, what
thing.
else are you going to do?
And in moments like this, you have to use humor to get through things. So that's the Southwest saga. And that's my story.